Doctors have a warning for people using an animal medicine to treat COVID in humans.
The rush to evacuate Americans and Afghan allies is on. I'm Deborah Alfarone in Washington, where the White House is facing tough criticism over the rapid Taliban takeover in Afghanistan.
And the technology that lets doctors monitor baby heart patients at home.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Doctors warn against taking a horse dewormer as a COVID treatment. This is KOAM News at 5. Ivermectin, an antiparasitic often used to deworm horses, has gained popularity on social media as a possible treatment for COVID-19. There's also a pill version of the drug that's FDA approved for certain conditions. However, the FDA says it has not reviewed data to support use of the drug in prevention of COVID-19. The FDA and doctors warn against using the version formulated for horses, with the federal agency receiving reports of people being hospitalized after using the livestock version.
It is a nerve active agent, which means that it actually works on parasites by paralyzing their muscles. And like in worms, the muscles that help them swallow. So it is in very large doses, it can be potentially neurotoxic.
Tonight at 6, we're going to hear from a local feed store owner who says the product is disappearing from her shelves. Now, today's KOAM News Now Instapoll question, we're asking, would you take off-label medicine for COVID-19 without a doctor's recommendation? You can participate in the poll at koamnewsnow.com/vote or through the KOAM News Now mobile app. Results are updated live, and we're going to check in on them here in a bit. Pitt State students get a welcome to the community. The university today hosted the community fair on the campus oval. Pittsburgh area businesses and organizations showcased their services and provided food and other giveaways as a way to introduce themselves to students who might be unfamiliar with the community.
But also maybe some more knowledge about what's available in our area. I think sometimes when they first get to Pittsburgh, they maybe are familiar with things that they've seen as they drive down Broadway, but maybe they haven't had the opportunity to stop into.
Students began classwork at Pitt State yesterday. Nick Kelly, some showers around the area.
Yeah, trying to give us a little bit of a break from the warmth that we've seen once again, Dow. But from Joplin's perspective, from 7th and Rangeline looking north, we're seeing some cumulus clouds trying to see if they can build up and produce some more rain around Joplin. But the closest area of rain to Joplin is from Carthage over to about Halltown, north of I-44. But the only severe storm warning we have on the board is for this little guy in parts of St. Clair County until 5:15. That's just for 60-mile-per-hour winds and some quarter-size hail. Not the big severe storm by any means, but something I'll still watch, in addition to these other scattered storms that we had to start the evening out. All because of an upper low that has developed on top of the region that will keep some rain chances around this evening, but it's trying to keep us away from the heat once again. We're in the mid-90s, thankfully, mid-80s, pardon me. But it may feel like the lower 90s in a few spots, but we'll eventually fall through the 80s, 70s, down to 70 tonight, Dow. We'll see how long these rain chances will stick around here in a bit.
All right, catch you then. The Biden administration says it has assurances from the Taliban for the safe passage of Americans traveling to Afghanistan's international airport for evacuation. 4,000 U.S. troops should be on the ground there by the end of the day to assist, as the Pentagon says it plans to have one charter flight depart per hour. Deborah Alfarone reports from Washington.
CBS News has learned calls are going out to thousands of American citizens in Afghanistan with instructions on how to get to the airport and where to go when they arrive.
Two of them are telling us right now they can't get to the airport and they've gone back home.
We are doing everything we can in a challenging and dynamic security environment. We are engaging with the Taliban. We've heard these assurances of safe passage.
Pentagon spokesman John Kirby adds the U.S. has been in touch with Taliban commanders as fighters reportedly patrol the streets outside the airport.
There is communication between them and us. There's been no hostile interactions.
A day after President Biden said he still stands by his decision to withdraw, National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan said he and other administration officials also take responsibility.
When a civil war comes to an end with an opposing force marching on the Capitol, there are going to be scenes of chaos.
Criticism over the images of thousands of Afghans clamoring to get out, along with the rapid Taliban takeover, have come from lawmakers from both sides, as well as U.S. veterans who have served in the 20-year conflict.
Some are waiting to die. We're getting messages from in country right now telling us they don't know that they have another day or two left.
In a news conference, Taliban leaders said the rights of all citizens, including women and girls, would be protected.
They will have to prove to the international community who they ultimately are going to end up being.
The NATO Secretary General says Afghanistan risks isolation if its government reinstates a reign of fear. Deborah Alfarone, CBS News, Washington.
According to an internal message obtained by CBS News, the Department of Homeland Security is asking immigration services workers to volunteer to help Afghans who are being relocated to the United States. Employees were told they could possibly be deployed to other states, which may include Texas, Wisconsin, and California. Still ahead on KOAM News at 5, the technology that lets doctors monitor baby heart patients at home. And later, people canceling trips because of concerns over COVID. Topping today's Health Watch, a study in JAMA Pediatrics finds babies and toddlers have the highest odds of transmitting COVID to a household member compared to older children. Researchers in Canada say one explanation is the younger children are not able to isolate from their caregivers when they're sick. It's a surprising stat. 1 in 100 babies born today will be born with congenital heart disease. More than 2,000 babies in the U.S. are born with the most severe form. These infants spend their first months in the hospital. Well, now new technology is allowing parents to take their babies home with the assurance doctors are keeping a close watch on them. Little D'Angelo Jr. has smiled through a lot this past year.
This is the scar where they cut him open to do the heart surgery.
He was born with a complex form of hypoplastic right heart syndrome.
Parts of his heart didn't form, so like we have chambers that open and close to let blood flow in. His was like born like a wall.
After 118 days and 1 heart surgery, D'Angelo was sent home to wait for his next operation.
We are very focused on watching them closely at home, but we like for them to get home. That's the best place for them to be if we can do it safely.
New digital home monitoring technology called Hearts at Home is helping doctors keep an eye on D'Angelo from a distance.
And then the oxygen levels started to drop, kind of indicating that he needed to come back in.
Oxygen levels, heart rates, and weight can be monitored in real time through an app every single day.
There's also a place for them to put photographs, videos, additional information in terms of how the babies are feeding and pooping and peeing and if they're throwing up or not.
We are constantly on the iPad, on the desktop, and viewing where these families are at. We're on the phone, and we're catching things early for these families to make sure that nothing is happening at home.
Something did happen to D'Angelo. He caught COVID, but even then, this little fighter stayed home.
It allowed us to watch him from afar and not have to admit him to the hospital.
He's strong. He's strong. He fights off a lot.
Now D'Angelo is feeling better, waiting at home with his mom and dad for his next procedure. Before Hearts at Home, parents would need to refer to a binder full of information of what to watch out for and to record their data. Since implementing the app in 2017, no babies at Rainbow Babies and Children's Hospital have died while at home waiting for their next procedure. Before the app, that number was as high as 15% nationwide. There's new evidence that the loss of a certain hormone during pregnancy directly impacts a child's brain development. A study in mice found that reducing the amount of a hormone found in the placenta caused changes in male offspring that resemble changes seen in some people with autism spectrum disorder. Researchers also found that the changes could be prevented with a single injection of the hormone in late pregnancy. And that is a look at today's health news. A little bit later, the summer trend in consumer spending.
But first, we'll break down how long these rain chances will stick with us and when, unfortunately, we'll heat back up. Forecast up next. It was yet another day where, even with some scattered storms, we kept pretty warm all across the area for this Tuesday afternoon. Certainly kind of a repeat of what we saw yesterday. Joplin Regional topping out around 88 degrees with a little dip during the afternoon thanks to a good shower that worked over the airport. We dropped back only into the lower 70s this morning, and so far the hottest we've gone, or warmest in this case, 89 degrees for Joplin so far. Sorry about that. A fly doesn't know when to leave me alone. I digress, though. Let's focus on what has happened so far today. We had actually a couple of storms this morning on the Kansas side, maybe a little bit of action around Table Rock Lake before we hit the noon hour. Then we saw our normal scattering of afternoon storms once again. So far, averaging out to about 0.2 of an inch of rain area-wide, but underneath the heavier pockets of rain, needless to say, you're picking up at least half an inch, almost an inch and a half of rainfall, with some storms still out there throughout the course of the afternoon, which we have been tracking for you. So let's see where we stand right now. Not a whole lot on the Kansas side, a couple of showers around Garnett, Burlington, and then maybe a couple showers to the south of Uniontown and Fort Scott. But if we zoom in a little bit tighter, a little rain around Table Rock Lake, then we see a little bit of activity still from Carthage to about Red Oak, and certainly north of Mount Vernon and northern parts of Lawrence County, trying to migrate north toward Table Rock Lake. But the better action has been around the Harry Truman Reservoir, certainly for southern Bates County and the St. Clair County. In fact, that severe thunderstorm warning we had, that storm weakened quite a bit, so no surprise that warning expired as we have hit 5:15. Looking outside from 7th and Range Line, kind of looks like an ominous sky, but we're dry in Joplin. Warm though, 86 degrees, feels like 88 with dew points in the mid 60s, and that goes for much of the region. Most of us in the mid to upper 80s. It feels like near 90 in a couple spots with the high humidity still in place, but we are going to see temperatures drop back through the 80s down to 75 by 10. Most of us dropping back to around 70 degrees later on tonight, but we're not the only ones seeing scattered storms. We have a good cluster of storms across the Oklahoma-Texas border and across Arkansas, not because of anything at the surface. I will point out though, we're still watching this front that'll try to keep some rain chances around for the coming weekend, but this is what's driving our rain chances for today and for tomorrow for that matter. So let's see how these will play out on the future track forecast. I do anticipate a bit of a lull in the action as we go into late tonight, certainly by 11 o'clock into early tomorrow morning. But I wouldn't be surprised if by the morning drive we could get a couple showers going, but most of you should be dry as we start near 70 for the morning drive on your Wednesday. Then we'll go back into the afternoon, warming up again with the humidity in place. We'll have scattered storms again during the afternoon. 70 in the morning, 83 by noon. Afternoon highs right around 87 degrees. We'll taper off on the rain chances going into Wednesday night, but by Thursday, before that upper low leaves, we're going to have another good scattering of showers and thunderstorms, keeping us mainly in the 80s for Thursday. So within the next 2 days alone, some spots may not see a drop of rain, while others could see rainfall amounts try to go over an inch and a half or so. We better enjoy these rain chances while they're here, because while it's rain that we can use and keeping us in the upper 80s for highs tomorrow through Friday, once the rain chances clear out now, we go back to 90 on Saturday, 91 on Sunday, and hot and humid with mid-90s for highs Monday and Tuesday.
So as you say, let's get the rain while we can.
Indeed.
Thanks, Nick. Coming up, trip cancellations due to COVID. First, though, we recognize a local veteran of the war in Afghanistan. Cherryville, Kansas native Andrew Snyder served with the U.S. Army. Specialist Andrew Snyder, our four-state hero. Topping today's Consumer Watch, summertime spending lost steam last month. According to the Commerce Department, retail sales dropped 1.1% in July. That was higher than expected. Consumers pulled back as concerns over the Delta variant spread and government stimulus subsided. Despite last month's drop, Walmart managed to turn in a better than expected quarterly report card. The world's largest retailer brought in more than $141 billion in revenue in the second quarter. Walmart says groceries and back-to-school shopping drove sales, along with items like party supplies and luggage, as families returned to some pre-pandemic activities. As the COVID-19 Delta variant spreads, the National Park Service announces it's immediately enforcing new mask rules. Visitors, employees, and contractors are now required to wear masks inside all Park Service buildings and even in crowded outdoor spots. The rule applies regardless of a person's vaccination status or transmission levels within the community. The Park Service says it's following the latest science and guidance from the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. After a rebound in travel this summer, people are once again canceling plans for trips because of the surging number of COVID cases. In a recent survey, 27% of respondents said they postponed a trip, and more than 54% said the Delta variant has made them less interested in traveling right now. Errol Barnett reports.
It was really kind of heartbreaking to not be able to finally go.
On Wednesday, Cotton Star of Houston was expecting to see her friends in San Diego for the first time in a long time.
I'm a high-risk category, so I was a little concerned with what was going to happen during that travel. I was going to be exposed to a lot of people.
It's been basically 2 years now since I've been able to see them.
Kim Hoff outside Denver has been waiting even longer, planning to meet her friends at DragonCon, a pop culture convention in Atlanta next month.
When it got to the point of the rates just skyrocketing in the last week or so, I thought, no, I'm sorry. There's no level of logistics that will make me feel okay if I bring this back with me.
Both canceled their long-awaited trips due to the spread of the Delta variant.
Airfare is on the downtrend.
Economist Adit Damodaran with the travel app Hopper says summer flight demand has flattened from pandemic highs, which is now leading to lower prices. But his service is finding since July, one aspect of travel is up. There's been a 33% increase in people buying cancelable tickets.
People want to have that option to cancel if for any reason, something happens, the situation develops in a way where they can't take that trip.
Another potential pitfall, airlines cutting flights. In June and July, domestic air cancellations were above their 1% average, which translates to 10,000 cancellations in July alone. For the number of people canceling trips, a sizable number still plan to head out somewhere. According to a recent survey, 26% of respondents say they do in fact plan to travel in October. Errol Barnett, CBS News at Reagan National Airport.
If you're a fan of seafood, you might want to take a close look inside your freezer. Avanti Frozen Foods is expanding its previous recall to now include some of its shrimp. The FDA says these products may be contaminated with salmonella. Among the brand names affected by the recall, Chicken of the Sea, Harbored Banks, Sandbar, and Wellesley Farms. The potentially tainted items were sold nationally from November 2020 through May of this year. If you bought these products, you're advised to return them to the place of purchase. You can find more information on the FDA's website. Tinder is set to roll out new ID verification on its dating app. The company hopes the new move will help avoid catfishing. The new feature allows daters to upload a photo of documentation like a license or passport, which will then be cross-verified with their photos in the app. For now, the feature will be voluntary in the U.S. Final check of the forecast next. Next, then on KOAM News at 6, we're going to check on football practice for the Columbus Titans and Riverton Rams. Plus, Kansas lawmakers accuse Governor Kelly of illegally spending COVID-19 funds. And we're going to hear more from a doctor and area feed store operator about the use of a horse deworming medicine to treat COVID among humans. Stay with us. CBS Evening News and then KOAM News at 6. Now, today's KOAM News Now Insta poll question. We're asking, would you take off-label medicine for COVID-19 without a doctor's recommendation? At this point, the overwhelming majority, 86%, say no. You can participate in this poll at KOAMnewsnow.com/vote or through the KOAM News Now mobile app. Results are updated live, and we're going to check in on the final results tonight at 10. Now, as the school year starts, KOAM is listening to your questions and getting answers from local education and health experts. We invite you to submit your questions for schools at KOAM News Now/Back-to-School. It's an online one-stop resource for school information. Hope you check it out. Some of us, at least, are getting some rain out there at the moment, Nick.
Yeah, and for others, they may have to wait until tomorrow for their share of scattered storms. So we'll keep an eye on the ones that are out there and ones lining up for the next couple of days. 87 again tomorrow and Thursday, 89 Friday, but most of the rain chances clear out now. The heat and humidity is back on with lower to middle 90s. lining up for early next week.
But isn't it nice to have highs in the 80s this time of year? Sometimes we get triple digits.
Yeah, so we've been spoiled for pretty much all of August, so we'll take it so far.
You bet. Of course, nothing lasts forever. Thanks for joining us. The CBS Evening News is next. Of course, we'll be right back here for KOAM News at 6. We'll see you then. Let's make it a great evening.